didn't have it when he first looked at it. Right? Once it's in his possession, he can't enjoy it. Once we have something that we've coveted, we don't enjoy it once we have it. We're left wanting more and more and more. Now, what's the solution to all of this? Well, in the story here of Joshua 7, the solution is, well, let's be honest, it's hard to come to grips with. Achan is taken outside the camp, along with all the gold and the silver, and Achan is destroyed. He's put to death. And in our minds, that principle is foreign to us. And let's just be upfront. It's hard for us to really fully wrap our minds around. No matter what kind of explanation you get, it seems it's blunt. It's hard to swallow. But here's some of the principle. Here's some of the idea. In those days, one person could act as a representative on behalf of the whole. Right? The idea of individualism was very foreign to ancient culture. So in those days, if one person was guilty, the whole was guilty. If one person was punished, then the whole person took that punishment and was then deemed to be justified. And that's what happens here. Achan is taken out of the camp. He's taken outside the city gates. And the guilty person is put to death so that the innocent people are then pardoned. They receive pardon. God's anger it passes, we read. And then the punishment has been paid. And that points to something even greater, doesn't it? It points us to another one who would come also from the tribe of Judah. And this one, of course, is Jesus, who never, ever desired anything contrary to God's will. I mean, Jesus' desires were always perfectly in line with the will of God. Jesus never had an impure, inappropriate desire. His desires were never misaligned. Jesus' desires, he always desired the Father's will perfectly. But we know what happened with Jesus at the end of his life. Jesus is the one who is then taken outside the city gates. And Jesus is the one who is then put to death. And it's because Jesus, the innocent one, who is put to death, that the rest, the whole, including you and I, we are spared. In the case of Achan, it's a guilty person who's put to death to spare the innocent, but in Jesus' case, it's Jesus, the innocent one, who's put to death to spare the guilty. The guilty are pronounced innocent. That's you and me. Jesus was punished in our place so that we receive mercy because Jesus received justice. So we're free from the penalty of our sin. We're free from the penalty of our coveting. But not only that, Jesus also sets us free from the power of coveting. Now that means that when we struggle with coveting, when we struggle with desiring things that maybe are not appropriate for us, or we desire the right things in the wrong way, then we have the assurance that God gives us victory over those desires. See, it's not enough to just say, well, I desire to be recognized. I want to be popular. I want to be well-known, well-respected. Or I desire more and more money and wealth and material things. And you can't say, well, I see that that's now coveting, so I need to just kind of stuff that desire down. That won't work. Something has to come along and replace that desire. Something has to come along, you have to replace that desire with something good. And the Bible says, of course, and I read it earlier this evening in our service, that when that something is Jesus, when Jesus becomes the object of our deepest desire, then we know and we can trust and we can believe that we have everything that we really need. Jesus has to become the object of our longing. He has to be the one on whom we set our desires. And that's what contentment is. Contentment means that we are trusting in Jesus to be enough for us. That we can say,